For the last few weeks, we as a country have started to take seriously the crisis down at the border and the conditions in the concentration camps that our government is running down there. That was the last couple of weeks. This week, hey, there's new news, important news. Epstein and all that is really important, but I worry, as I always do, that people's eyes have already gone like off the prize. Like we were getting somewhere. And the thing is, while some of the media attention has moved away, the actual conditions there haven't significantly improved in any fashion that we can tell. And I want to remind people of how bad things are by talking about some recent reporting from NBC News. So this is coming from caseworkers who have talked with children being held in these camps. Here's some of what they found out. A 16-year-old Guatemalan boy held in Yuma, Arizona said he and others in his cell complained about the taste of water and food they were given. The Customs and Border Protection agents then took the mats out of their cell in retaliation, forcing them to sleep on hard concrete. So they worried that the food and water wasn't good, that it might make them sick or whatever. And when they brought that up, they were punished by the agents running the facility.
So I mean, if you want a direct case study in a few things, so this is the punishment for talking about things that are uncomfortable for you as a child, and also as you come into the country, these border protection agents, like their role after hearing all of this demonization, because people don't like, they talk about not being politically correct. One of the reasons for being politically correct, because it's so soft, is to not create a-holes like this, monsters in our country that are in a position of power to then feel, hey, as a country, we talk trash about these folks, we demonize them, they're no longer human. We talk about cantaloupe calves, and we talk about how they're rapists and murderers and drug dealers and gang members. You know what you do to those people? You do whatever you want to those people because nobody cares about them. So when you see a 16-year-old kid, also that when you see a 16-year-old kid, he's actually adult age looking. So you can do whatever you want to him because he's a threat to you. Yeah. So as these two worlds converge, we've got our people in power taking out their anger on children because we've demonized them long enough, and the children are looking up going, I came here for this? Yeah. I'm escaping life-threatening things for more life-threatening things. Yeah. What do you think their perception of America is gonna be after that?
Yeah, probably pretty ruined. And we've got some more accounts. As we go through this, one of the sort of strains fighting in the background is the fight against the idea that this is just a problem of funding. AOC has been trying to keep people focused on that because that's the idea, is that just, there's a lot of people, they need more money, that's why the conditions are so bad. Okay, well, in that first case where they punish the kids by taking away their stuff, that's not an issue of funding. I will ask you, is this next one an issue just of funding? A 15-year-old girl from Honduras described a large bearded officer putting his hands inside her bra, pulling down her underwear and groping her as part of what was meant to be a routine pat down in front of other immigrants and officers. The girl said she felt embarrassed as the officer was speaking in English to other officers and laughing during the entire process. So is that a funding issue where if they had had more resources, then the guy would not have molested this little girl and joked about it with other officers? I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe if we just pay him more. Like, where's that money going to? These are the specifics of this debate that need to happen. Because let's go ahead and connect it to the funding that was just given, that was granted through Democrats to what Trump wanted, without any stipulations of how to treat human beings in these these concentration camps. So once you don't enforce it, this will continue to flow through. Now again, going back to how this spreads. So this one particular child molester officer then turns to his cohorts and laughs about it. What do you think the rest of those guys are gonna do the next time? Like, oh, my turn. Yeah. And then we have a whole different problem on our hands.
Yeah, this is not, he didn't do it in private, he did it in front of other people and they felt, yeah, that's normal, I'm not gonna stop him.
So not only do other officers see it, but other kids see it, and she's embarrassed in front of the other kids, and other kids go, that could happen to me.
And if she complains, what will happen to her? I mean, we've seen if you complain about the food, what if you accuse one of them of being a rapist? What are they gonna do to you then? More accounts. Nearly every child interviewed by the HHS caseworkers after leaving the Yuma border station reported poor sleeping conditions. A 17-year-old boy from Guatemala reported having to sleep outside even though his clothes were wet from having recently crossed a river, likely the Colorado River. Again, is that a funding situation that they made him sleep outside in soaked clothing? I kind of doubt it. Other children described being scared of the officers and said the officers would get angry if they asked for anything. One child wore soiled underwear for 10 days, he was in the border station, because he was afraid to ask the officers for a clean pair. That is a perceptive, wise child because he probably would have been punished if he had complained. But again, as I said, there are people trying to get it across to the country that this is not just an issue of resources. AOC is probably the principal amongst those, and she brought it up again yesterday, saying to Kellyanne Conway, curious how you're going to defend the child sexual assault that seems to be happening on your watch. Remind me again how sexual assault is a funding problem, because last I checked, ending this is about holding abusers to account, something you can't seem to do. Because when Kellyanne Conway, representing the Trump administration, had gone on the media recently, she said that people like AOC are the problem because they voted against this funding bill, and funding, after all, will be the solution to all these problems.
She also went in front of the cameras, we mentioned this earlier, Kellyanne Conway, when they were asking about the child rapist, Jeffrey Epstein, and said, why don't you guys focus on the pig who was raping the little girls? Hey, we've got CBP officers over there molesting little girls and probably raping
Hundreds
as well,
of accounts of sexual assault.
Are we going to talk about the pigs that are doing that there?
Nope, we're gonna talk about something else.
We got to give them more money.
Yeah, and so one of the big concerns about that money too was that the Senate bill was specifically designed to make sure that there is no controls on how the money is spent. And our concern is they're gonna set up more camps, or they're gonna use the money to build a wall. Some people say, you're being ridiculous. The bill is supposed to help people, so they're gonna help people. Well, a report also came out yesterday that the border security and ICE are setting up 3 more of these camps, even though they said that there were no future construction plans. And so AOC tweeted about that, saying DHS and ICE are flagrantly violating congressional orders, just as we said they would. Yet it was Ilhan, Ayanna, Rashid, and I that were wrong to oppose throwing more money to abusive agencies, right? Well, that was when they had their regular funding. Now billions of new dollars are gonna be thrown their way. What are they gonna do with that money? Probably not fix the problem with the molestation, the horrible sleeping conditions, and the terrible food, if I had to guess.
Sometimes facts just hurt, you can keep getting mad about it, but as long as she keeps delivering, and these other brave younger congressmen and women, as long as they continue to speak facts, I mean, you can't deny that. Yep. So just come with more facts, because it's happening right in front of us. You can either ignore it and look like the bad guy and be on the wrong side of history, or you can do something about it.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.